Welcome to That 80s Show. Why be in the nowies when you can be in the 80s? Presumably something Bill Cosby also said. How are you, Dori?
I'm good, Paulo. The nowies, is that a thing?
It is now.
The nowies a thing?
It is. It's the nowies now. Because what do we call nows? It's because it's the 20s, but like that feels weird. So nowies works. Because it's just...
Neo-20s, perhaps?
Neo-20s. That sounds like a creative director at a fancy ad agency, Neo-20s. Yeah. Okay, good work.
Just trying to help.
Good work. But use it. Nowies, tell your friends. Everyone's using it. All the cool kids. And us are also saying it. So that's a cool thing.
Okay.
Dori, I'm pumped. I think we're going to have a great show today. I just got a feeling it's all going to happen. It's all going to happen because we're starting off with Michael J. Fox news. He hasn't died, no, because but his documentary has come out and people are seeing it. It's a documentary called Still.
Wow. Okay, where can one see this?
Right, so it's only at Sundance now. So I don't know about you. I'm not cool enough to go to Sundance film festivals. I know you in the film community. I'm not.
But not that cool though.
Not that
I
cool.
certainly can't go to Sundance. So it is on the bucket list, of course.
Of course. It is mixed reviews so far, right? So obviously The Guardian, which is very fancy. The Guardian standards are super high. So they watched it. Michael J. Fox made a documentary about obviously his career and his battle with Parkinson's, right? So he tells the story, no holds barred, warts and all. No warts held, barred, everything. So everything comes out.
Right.
The reviewer who watched it, Peter Bradshaw, and you've got to see this guy. Listen, he works for The Guardian, way better journalist than me. He finds the way that...
You're not a journalist.
Oh, yeah. What's the other one? A narcissist. That's what I am. That's why I get confused. I'm a cyst on this. So he doesn't like it because they intersperse a lot of the poignant parts with bits of Michael J. Fox movies and TV shows, which I'm like, I'd love that. I mean, of course, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, let's remember him for the greatness that he was. Yeah,
exactly. So here's some of the things Michael J. Fox says. He became an alcoholic when he got diagnosed. And he said with his Parkinson's diagnosis, there is no way out. So he tells the story while he was filming. So he now kind of got diagnosed early 90s with it. And a lot of people say that his kind of like...
How old was he?
He's super... I mean, think about 1991. If he's 61 now, we're going back...
Must have been
late 20s.
So young.
Yeah, late 20s.
How did you get that so young?
I know.
That's crazy.
That's what the whole thing's about. That's why he's being so vocal, because he goes like, early diagnosis can, help you so much. But if you only think it's an old man's disease, here's a guy who goes like, it is certainly not an old man's disease. And we've spoken about it before. A lot of his like flighty kind of style of acting was his way of hiding it. That kind of nervous way he bounced around. He developed that to hide it. But when he got diagnosed, imagine getting diagnosed with Parkinson's like in your early 30s. Like you're just going to go on a spiral. He says he popped dopamine pills like Halloween candies to stave off the symptoms. He always made a point to hold props. This is another thing he did. He always made sure he was holding something. Actually, think about it. In Spin City, he was always picking up a paper, moving something around. If you think about it, he was always doing that.
Yeah.
And
his hands were in his pockets. I think about it as well.
And then, of course, he developed alcoholism. He said he started drinking a lot to forget. So he said, I don't know what was happening. I don't know what was coming. So what if I could just have 4 glasses of wine and maybe a shot? He says, I was definitely an alcoholic, but he's been sober for 30 years. So after that little period, never drank again. He says his wife has been a big help to him. And obviously kicking alcohol, not drinking.
They're another one of those. They're another one of those like longevity couples.
Yeah.
That have just been forever.
So that's his. It comes out So it's currently on the Sundance circuit. Oh, shame. He says, yeah, I'm always in intense pain. He frequently falls while walking, and he's been injured multiple times, even while they were shooting the documentary. And he says, people around him are saying, be careful, be careful. And he's like, this has nothing to do with being careful. It just happens. It will be released on Apple TV Plus this year, but it's currently running on the Sundance circuit. I'm so interested to see that because I love Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Good guy. A terrible affliction.
Who doesn't? Honestly, who doesn't love Michael J. Fox? If you don't, then you're not human. I'm sorry.
Well, that was the whole premise of Larry David does not like Michael J. Fox. That awesome episode of...
Did I miss something?
No, I mean,
really?
in Curb Your Enthusiasm, that episode where Michael J. Fox lived upstairs to Larry David.
Oh, God, yes, of course.
One of my favorites.
Oh, yes, but I mean, obviously, in real life.
Love each other.
You know, he loves him, obviously.
No, it's such a good episode because, Michael J. Fox really leans into it and now just goes out of his way to irritate Larry David. And one of the scenes is he's stomping around in these massive boots. Larry David goes to confront him. It's like, I have to wear these boots. Yeah.
I totally forgot.
They're therapeutic. I have to wear them. It helps correct my walk. We'll post up the link to that. That's Michael J. Fox, and I'm glad he's coming out and raising awareness of Parkinson's. And I think the major thing is like it's not an old man's disease. Here's a guy got diagnosed, the height of everything, golden boy, 30 years old, had to deal with that. We're going to move on very quickly today. Not too much nonsense talking, straight into our movies because I've got a doozy that I want to talk about. Yeah.
I'm glad you got a doozy because mine's a little a little bit of a cheat this week.
Well, you said so. If you're listening on the podcast, you would have missed the song. We played The Cult. I mean, we've never played The Cult. Lil Devil. We've never played The Cult.
I know we've never played them, and I mean, I really like some of their songs. Not all of them. I like some of their songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, we've never played this. It is on the soundtrack of one of the movies I'm going to be discussing. There's a clue. I was like, good opportunity. Let's just do it. Yes, we did. If you are listening live, then you would have heard Lil Devil by The Cult, which, So what, am I going straight into it? Like, no, that's it. We're going straight into movies.
Actually, wait. One thing before we get into that, I feel we have to touch on this.
Yes.
Maybe we're 2 weeks too late. Do we have an opinion on Madonna's face?
But didn't we speak about this last week?
We touched on it.
We actually did speak about this.
But very quickly.
Because I even remember saying that I would still take how Madonna looks now. Now, I would still be okay to look like how Madonna looks at her age as I am now, which is younger than her age. I would still go, okay, I'll look like that. So it's fine.
So you're fine. Because, I mean, there's been, of course, people want to talk about it. People are nasty about it. People making jokes about it. But if Madonna wants to look that way, I think the thing is, for us, we go, but she looked better in the 80s, but who didn't?
I mean, really? Come on. And the thing is, Madonna is not the kind of person who's going to go grey and fade into a granny role baking biscuits. Like, come on, guys. Like, get over it. She's going to do whatever she can to stay relevant, stay in the news, stay controversial. And yes, part of that is maybe getting some slightly suspect surgical procedures. But hey, people still talking about her.
That's true, because Madonna's the template for all of these divas now. She's the template for Lady Gaga. She's the template for Sam Smith. She's the template for Miley Cyrus. So she goes, well, if it wasn't for me, there wouldn't be a you, but I've got to keep bringing it. That's a good point, Dori.
And have respect for the OG. Come on, people.
You're quite right. One of the things that has come about...
We're not the biggest fans. We don't play Madonna regularly on this show, but we acknowledge her role in the world.
I'm a big Madonna fan. I just don't play because I think some of her songs are expected to play on an 80s show. You go, oh, that's an 80s show. They're definitely going to play some Madonna. They're definitely going to play Madonna and Michael Jackson. And I'd rather play De La Soul,
The Cult, for example.
Exactly. So also shout out one of the founding members of De La Soul passing away this week, which is quite interesting because De La Soul have never put their music on any streaming platforms. You've never been able to buy it, right? Or stream it. Never. Spotify, Apple, you cannot find De La Soul. Even on YouTube, you'll battle to find, and as you find, it disappears. And coming up soon, I think could even be next week, or next 2 weeks, their whole catalog is being released onto all the streaming services. So
the person who died was the one who said, no, we can't put it on.
Possibly, or it's a big conspiracy. Maybe he didn't die. It's just they're just doing it for the streams. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. But
no, we're not going to be. I don't
want to be that guy.
Theorists, please no.
One of the things I have enjoyed about this whole Madonna age debate is the meme going around about Susanna Hoffs.
I haven't seen that.
Well, so Susanna Hoffs, gorgeous. We love Susanna Hoffs. Is the same age as Madonna. Now, you want to do yourself a favor. You can either Google it, and you'll probably find. So when I Google image search Susanna Hoffs, it says resume your journey. That's how often I Google image search.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
journey in inverted commas.
Sis. So we're gonna put up. You can either Google search Susanna Hoffs today, or we're going to put up a
Susanna Hoffs 2023.
Right. Or we're going to put up a recent photo of her on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. And her and Madonna are the same age. And you want to talk about natural beauty, Susanna Hoffs.
I know how Susanna Hoffs looks today. And, some people just have better genes. She's got the really, really, really good genes.
Oh, boy.
Look at someone like, I was watching a movie. Oh, James Marsden. I was watching Dead to Me on Netflix.
Yeah.
James Marsden has got amazing genes. He does not age.
No, he's like Paul Rudd. I mean, they just don't have that chromosome, the aging chromosome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or they have the secret best plastic surgeon. One or the other.
Or they belong to that blood drinking cult, which we all know about.
Yes, that one.
I then, in a Susanna Hoffs rabbit hole, discovered that she did she's got 3 albums out where she does cover versions of songs in her style. Some of the more noticeable ones, Carly Simon's You're So Vain. She does Dreaming. She does a cover version of Bell Bottom Blues, a cover version of Free Falling, All the Young Dudes, but no cover versions of any of her own songs, which is hugely disappointing.
Well, that wouldn't be a cover version, though.
Yeah, what do you call that? That's a good point.
A remake?
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've padded long enough.
Sounds cool.
I think we've padded long enough to get to your movie.
No, we're not padding. I mean, I think that sounds cool. I'm going to try and listen to some of those.
Under the Covers, the best of Matthew Sweet and Susanna Hoffs. They've done 3. They've done 3 albums.
I love Matthew Sweet.
Yeah. There, you got it. It's a great discovery.
I'm going to go find that.
So that's your streaming recommendations.
One more thing I want to mention one more thing I want to talk about, which is kind of related to movies because it's about TV. Remember previously on the show we spoke about The Last of Us?
Yes.
You had made mention of Depeche Mode and why you played Depeche Mode. And then you were like, it's a very specific scene.
Yes.
I have continued watching The Last of Us. I am now very into it.
Yes.
And I have now seen the scene that you referred to. But you did not mention that there was a previous scene, Paulo, where Wham was played.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean, what am I talking about?
I did not see.
Episode 1 of The Last of Us. Episode 1 of The Last of Us. Wham, Wake Me Up Before You Go gets played.
Like early, like where? Early on, middle?
Between probably about 3/4 way through because the Depeche Mode is right at the end.
Yes.
Right at the end of episode 1. But probably maybe 5-10 minutes before that.
Oh my God.
Dude, you're going to have to go rewatch. I can't believe you missed it.
No, I definitely did because I don't watch, who watches TV like in one setting? You sit down, you're moving around, you're picking up. It must have been a part where, because you watch enough TV shows, you know when there's a lull, you know when nothing's going to happen. And you can kind of sense, okay, now I can go pee, I don't want to pause, whatever I'm walking on. I missed that. Gee, I've got to go back and watch that.
And you literally missed it. And I was like, watching it going, how did Paulo not mention this? So I thought, I've got to bring it up on the show.
Well, thank you for that. I'll go back and watch that.
Please, because I'm I was enjoying the show enough, but that just cemented it. Right, I'm now totally into this show. This show has given credit to Wham. I'm all in.
Okay.
The only thing is, the whole thing of the 80s music is that it's a bad thing. Like the 80s music is a sign of something bad.
Yeah, I'm picking that up, right? Yeah, I'm picking that up.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. So that's in the scene you missed. So go watch that scene because that's exactly what is revealed in that scene. 80s music means danger.
That makes a lot of sense now. That's why I'm so confused.
Oh my God. Really?
I'm watching Fear, but I was like, fuck, I'm confused. I must have missed something. What did I miss? It must be that.
You missed the literally most important part of episode 1.
My God.
Anyway, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler at this point because I'm sure everyone who's watching is past episode 1. I am currently on episode 3. So really enjoying it now.
So with popular stuff like that, you're either part of the people that watches everything straight up, or you wait for all the buzz to die down and there to be 3 or 4 seasons and then you binge them all again. So yeah, people have seen them, or by the time they watch it, they would have forgotten this. Or
maybe
nobody listens to this. So it's really 3 options there.
I mean, no real spoiler there, honestly, in what I said. So it's fine. And now, when we talk about my movie, because it is a movie, but it refers to other movies, which is why I said there's going to be multiple movies discussed. It's so funny that you spoke about the Michael J. Fox documentary, because the movie I want to talk about this week is also a documentary that I finally got around to watching, also on Netflix. Netflix better start paying us, honestly. Come on, Netflix, just start paying us. I'm talking about the documentary called Senior, which is about
Robert Downey Jr.
Jr.'s father.
Yes.
Have you watched it?
No, I have not. It looks depressing as hell.
So
It looks so sad.
It's so good. It is sad, and there's moments, but it is so good and so interesting and so well done. And there was a section of it that I just had to talk about. So I was like, I'm going to make this my movie of the week because it refers to things that we have spoken about on the show multiple times. The reason we started the show with the cult Lil Devil is that song was in the movie Less Than Zero, starring Robert Downey Jr., but it's not on the soundtrack. There's 2 amazing songs that are not on the actual soundtrack of Less Than Zero. That is one of them. The other one is Fire by Jimi Hendrix. Why they were not put on the soundtrack, maybe there was some sort of rights issues. I don't know. The point is that literally 2 of the best songs, apart from, of course, the Bangles, coming back to Susanna Hoffs, everything's going full circle today. The Bangles is probably the best song on the soundtrack. But yes, the movie Senior, which is on Netflix, which is a documentary, and it's beautifully done, all in black and white, all very arty. You know how much I love arty. But boy, I am nothing. My taste is not even on the tip of weird compared to the movies that this man made, Paulo. I don't know if you are aware of some of the movies that Robert Downey Sr. made in his life. They are so weird. And look, a lot of them not from the 80s, but I'm going to refer to a couple. So obviously Less Than Zero, Robert Downey Jr. starred in Less Than Zero. Had nothing to do with Robert Downey Sr., but the one part that comes up in the documentary, which is so funny, is when they talk about Robert Downey Jr. doing Less Than Zero, because he had been in a whole bunch of his dad's films up to that point. He'd been in some others as well, but he'd been up in a lot of his dad's films, which are, as I've just explained, beyond weird. He called his dad and said, I'm finally in a real movie.
Really?
Which is so funny. And but they do also refer to the fact that, no big secret, Robert Downey Jr. had a huge problem with drugs. Funnily enough, exactly at around the time that Less Than Zero was filmed, that was when the drugs were becoming a problem. I mean, it's no big secret. It's revealed in the documentary. His dad gave him drugs when he was a little kid.
What?
And that was one of the things. And they deal with it in the documentary. They deal with his guilt over doing that. His intention was not to do anything bad. He was just, he wasn't like worst dad ever. It was just... you have to kind of watch the documentary to understand the circumstances, and he was a bit of a weird hippie oddball dude. And he was like,
he was, but
give the 8-year-old a joint. Why not?
Okay, so those sorts of drugs. Okay, so like hippie drugs.
Yes, he wasn't exactly like making lines for him to snort at 8 years old. So no, nothing like that. But he was like, let the kid, have a smoke kind of thing.
At 8 though. That's it. Even for hippies, that's intense.
No, it was intense, and there's a lot. But the reason I wanted to talk about Senior is that there's a part. So Robert Downey Sr. is the person who directed Up the Academy.
Yes.
I think you might have mentioned this.
Yes.
When you did Up the Academy.
Yes.
Right. Two things, which I don't remember you might have mentioned. Robert Downey Jr. makes a cameo appearance in Up the Academy as one of the players.
The cadets, yeah.
But he's uncredited.
Yes.
Okay, you probably did mention that. They talk about because what had happened was up to this point, he was in New York making his weird, arty, makes no sense, crazy movies, having the time of his life, not caring whether they were financially successful. He then goes to Hollywood and they say to him, right, you're going to direct this movie called Up the Academy. And of course, he has to, first of all, adjust to Hollywood. He has to adjust to accounting to people. He has to adjust to the fact that he has to do something that's going to make money. In the documentary, he says he hated every second of it.
So, just in case people don't know, right, Up the Academy was a movie commissioned by Mad Magazine. Yeah. It wasn't originally called Mad Magazine Presents Up the Academy, but Robert Downey Sr. wasn't the only person that hated it. Ralph Macchio was also in it. You'll see a lot of very young.
Yeah.
And it just turns out nobody liked this movie, which is perfect for Mad because they wanted to make the most shit thing ever when they achieved it. But I don't think they meant it to be that shit. So that's the movie we're talking about.
No, and I mean, never mind what Mad Magazine wanted. The studio wanted a financial success because that's what people do.
Well, they banked on it because I think at the time Warner Brothers owned both Mad Magazine and I think they commissioned the movie. And they kind of sat there, listen, we've got this magazine that sells so well. All we have to do is make a movie and we'll just do well. And we're going to make it in the style of Police Academy, Revenge of the Nerds. Like that's very much what's making money now. How can we miss?
It's so funny because when they talk about it in the documentary, he says he hated every minute of it. And they actually eventually called him towards the end of the whole process. He was just being so rebellious and so impossible. And they said to him, listen, if you carry on this behavior, you are not going to get final cut. Now, to explain for people who might not know what that means, the director needs to decide, I'm the director of this movie. I'm deciding what the final version looks like, final cut, the final edited version of this movie. All directors want final cut because it's their movie.
Sure.
Their name is on it, right? So they threaten him with saying, you're not going to get final cut if you don't toe the line, basically. And he said to them, it's so funny, he said to them, I don't care as long as I get final cut of the cocaine.
Of course you would.
Because by then, cocaine was a big part of his life. Yeah, so I mean, basically, and he says, because he basically went to Hollywood around that time, 1980. Until then, he had been in New York, and he spent 15 years in Hollywood where he said they were the worst 15 years of his life. It was horrendous. So he basically spent the entire 80s in Hollywood being miserable, taking too many drugs, and screwing everything up, including his marriage. Just a disaster, basically.
Okay, right.
And no, I just thought it was really funny. Anyway, the point is, watch the documentary because, yes, it's not all 80s, but there is some 80s. But the point is, it's also about these icons. Robert Downey Jr. and Sr. are icons in the film industry for various different reasons. And it's so interesting because Robert Downey Jr. is so well known. I mean, if you type his name into IMDb, what first comes up is, of course, Iron Man.
Sure.
Known for Iron Man.
Sure.
For me, Robert Downey Jr. is always going to be less than zero, even though it's not a great film. I've discussed it on the show before. It's not a great film by any means. It has horrendous continuity errors. It's not amazing. It's a completely different to the book, which is a whole different story. But it's such a great documentary, really. And yes, it is. It has moments of sadness, but totally worth watching. My recommendation this week.
So tell me one thing.
Tangent off the old 80s.
I didn't even consider that an Up the Academy movie is going to feature. A Robert Downey Sr. movie is going to feature Up the Academy because I just thought no one would care. Do they have any scenes from Up the Academy in the movie?
Yes, yes. In the docu, yes, they do.
I'm all over it.
They do have some scenes.
I'm watching. You do not understand.
I mean, not a lot.
But it's there.
Yes, they're there. They're there as he's talking about the movie.
Listen to my 80s.
It's made me want to watch some of his...
Who? Robert Downey Sr. Putney Snope. You never watched Putney Snope?
It's made me want to watch. I definitely want to watch Putney Swope. Have never seen it. I want to watch all his really bizarre movies. There is a movie on IMDb. It's called Moment to Moment. In the documentary, it has another title, which is completely bizarre, which is like 2 tons of turquoise something. I can't remember, but it's actually the title that it has on IMDb is Moment to Moment. Please, can I read the description, because this just explains exactly the kind of movies he was making. An experimental, ludicrous, plotless, absurd, surreal comedy. It is seemingly intentionally impossible to understand. It leaps from scene to scene, world to world, with recurring names and actors being the only things that hold it together. Very much like sketch comedy, except without much of a point. The movie literally goes from moment to moment with no actual narrative in mind, rather than to just film a bunch of miscellaneous scenes and ideas and cut them together. Make of it what you will.
Fantastic.
But it really does look insane. I mean, they show quite a bit of it in the docu, and it's like, wow, that looks mad. And I also want to see a movie that he made. These are all 70s movies, called Grease's Palace, which is the story of Christ, but done as a spaghetti western.
What the fuck?
Yeah. No, dude, you have no idea. You've got to watch this docu, because you'll be like, oh my God, this guy was so creative, so insane. But this is the thing as well, and it does come through in the docu, is that as crazy as his movies were, there was a depth and a meaning underneath them. And Robert Downey Jr. even comments in the documentary about how he's still trying to grapple with some of the depth of the stuff that his dad has made.
Really? Well,
and it's like, I guess one person's going to watch it and go, what a load of shit. And another person's going to go, whoa, man, that's so cool.
Well,
it's like, why have they not shown that to me at art school?
Exactly. If methinks if that's your father's legacy, you're going to kind of dig and look for something that's not really there. I mean, maybe he's just so fucking high.
No, it really does. No, the parts that they showed in the docu, I'm like, yeah, maybe. I mean, like, Andy Warhol's films were insane and pointless and all those things, but you can find meaning in them if you try. Same thing.
Okay, of course.
That's me getting off my arty high horse for the week. But definitely watch Senior.
Fantastic. Listen, I didn't think that it would be a gateway. Up the Academy would be a gateway, because my crap fest movie collection, like ideal, is a one-night marathon watching Up the Academy, The Garbage Pail Kids, and Howard the Duck. That is like, that is 80s crap fest for me. And listen, we're not even going to my weird collection of Hard Ticket to Hawaii and all that shit. We're talking about, let's talk about movies. That's what I'm watching.
You are the son that Robert Downey Sr. never had. You are the son.
Never had me, but deserved me. Well, he hated the movie. I think I'm the only person who liked that movie, honestly.
No, I don't think he hated the movie. He hated the experience of making the movie, according to all the rules. He couldn't make his own movie.
Okay.
But, he definitely alludes in the documentary to the fact that he totally screwed the movie up to piss them off. He made it badly, in inverted commas, because you obviously don't agree, on purpose, basically.
But I think that's the beauty of that movie, is that you don't know it's supposed to be bad. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell.
That was the other thing he said about it. He wanted, because it was written for obviously teenagers and the cast was supposed to be high school kids or whatever. He said this would work much better with young kids, like 8-year-olds. And Robert Downey Jr. is standing there going, you can't do that. You can't make this movie with 8-year-olds. And
unless they're stoned.
What? I just wanted to change their age. What? I just wanted to change their age. What's wrong with that?
Unless they're stoned.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. That's a fantastic movie. I didn't think that'd be the end. My movie recommendation is, I'm not going to tease it, Dori. It was a long time coming. They kept pushing the release date back. I watched Top Gun Maverick. That's my movie recommendation of the week.
It's on Showmax, I think. It's
correct.
On somewhere. I think it's Showmax. And I've actually added it to my list to go, you know what? I eventually have to watch this thing. So I have not watched it yet, but I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Here's the thing. So yes, on Showmax and DSTV, I think they're in cahoots, that both Top Gun Maverick and when you finish watching Top Gun Maverick, it goes, you may enjoy this, which is Top Gun. It is So listen, we know the story.
Who would watch Top Gun Maverick without watching Top Gun? I don't understand.
People. And here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So it is, I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. Let me tell you.
It's a standalone movie. You don't need to have watched Top Gun first. It stands alone.
So, right. So we all know the story. Tom Cruise, 30 years later, his character goes back to train some new Top Gun recruits. The thing about this movie is it's so 80s in that it's just fun. Like, it doesn't give a shit about like being clever, about explaining things. No, it gives a shit about being clever, and it wants you to know how clever it is. And when it's clever, it takes some time to go, look how clever we are. Do you get it? Do you get it? Okay, now you got it. Now we're going to move on, okay? It feels like such an 80s movie, even to the point. So I started watching it. My daughter then sits down. She loved it. She's like, no, this movie's fucking great. I love it. I said, why? It's just action. And you don't have to think. And because even at one point my wife goes, but why are they blowing up that base? Because they never explain. They got to go blow up a base. They never explain. I said, because there are people who aren't Americans and they have bombs, and America doesn't like that. So that's why they're going to blow it up.
Those are the wrong kind of questions to ask for that kind of movie, clearly.
Exactly. But it's so 80s. It's like they're not Americans. So that's why they're getting blown up. You never know what country they're in. It could be North Korea. It could be Russia. It's very much got that landscape. You never see an enemy because they're always wearing helmets. So you don't see it. But it doesn't matter. Tom Cruise cannot be killed. He will never be killed. Okay. It's got the right, like, I'm not like mad about action, but I like enough action. So it's not like over the top Fast and Furious or The Rock type of movies. It's got just enough action, right? So that whole part is cool. Mm-hmm. But the best part is, Dori, this is where I say to you, whenever they're clever, they want you to know how clever they are. Like, it's so Tom Cruise. It's so Tom Cruise. It's so pleased with itself. It really is. I just laugh about it, thinking about how pleased it is with itself. Because whenever it throws back to the original Top Gun, it makes sure you fucking know about it. Okay? It's so obvious that it kind of, and that's where I say it pauses. It's like, see it, see what we're doing. See what we're doing. You got it. Okay, cool. Now we'll move on, right? So I'm going to read you a list.
I'm going to look out for that.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm going to read you a list of all the throwbacks, right? Like the first thing that actually happens when the first time you see Tom Cruise, his character, what's his name? Maverick. I'll just call him Maverick. I didn't even pay attention to what his first name is from either of the movies. He's in his workshop and they make sure, like, pause, like holding shot on his aviator sunglasses, holding shot on photos, holding shot on his motorbike. But it's probably like 30 seconds worth of scene stretched over 5 minutes to make sure you know that means something, that means something. Like he takes his his dog tags, and he takes his jacket out and he looks at it for like 15 minutes. Just, okay, cool, that's the same jacket, right? So all those things are in it, right? So here are the things. I'm going to try not to spoil it too much, right? Here are the things that throw back. Obviously, Val Kilmer shows up, right? He reprises his role as Iceman, but now he's super high up in the Navy. He's like the top guy in the Navy, right? Obviously, when Val Kilmer shot this, we know Val Kilmer's lost his voice, right? He can't speak. He had throat cancer, right? Yeah. And they bring it into the movie again. They don't explain it. The wife just says, it's come back. He's very tired. He can barely speak, right? So they don't explain. They don't elaborate. You kind of get it. Okay, he's sick. And that's kind of what the movie is. It's like, I'm going to drop a point. I'm going to move on. What they did with Val Kilmer is you do hear him speak, but they recreate his voice using clips of his old movies and his son's voice.
Wow. They probably could have just used his son's voice and nobody would have noticed.
No, but why? Because it's that those guys from Ukraine that use like deep fake voice technology. They even recreated James Earl Jones's voice as Darth Vader.
So they're showing off. Okay.
It's basically showing off. It's basically Tom Cruise went. That's why I kept pulling the movie back, because, over COVID and things like technology are developing. No, fuck it. We're reshooting that. We're redoing that. If there's new technology, I want to do it. Right. So Val Kilmer pops up. There's a fantastic Mandela effect movie in this movie at play, but I want to tell you. Things I forgot is that Meg Ryan was in the first one. I completely forgot it.
She was Goose's girlfriend.
Correct. She was Goose. Yeah.
No.
Right.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So obviously Goose's son is a huge role in this movie. So he's played by Miles Teller. Same, the moustache, because you got to go. The dad had a moustache. He's got a moustache. Wears all the dads because dresses like the dad dressed. Miles Teller, again, the best looking ugly person in the world. He's so ugly, but he's the best looking ugly person. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Right? It's like you get people
I know what you mean. I mean, he's funny looking, I guess you could say.
He is, but he's super good looking at it. Like he does it like handsomely.
Yeah, he's good at looking funny.
Yeah, but like you get that in Hollywood. Like you sometimes see actors that like if you saw them in real life, they'd freak you out. But because the angles and everything of their face works so well on camera, they're kind of like good looking.
Well, everyone's got different taste.
So obviously, he then becomes Rooster, Goose's son. We see him in Top Gun. He's a little kid. And even there's scenes with Tom Cruise carrying him around. And there's a scene where they sit in the bar and they're playing Great Balls of Fire. And there's a throwback scene where, Rooster now plays Great Ball of Fire. I'm not teasing. It's been in all the trailers. This bothered me that a group of 20-year-olds know a Jerry Lee Lewis song from the 50s, word for word. That bothered me. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah.
It's a throwback. There's lots of scenes like when Tom Cruise arrives. These are all stuff in the trailer, so I'm not even teasing anything. When he arrives at the academy, it's a scene-for-scene recreation from the original Top Gun. They do a homage to the beach volleyball scene, but this time they're playing beach football, and that fails. That fails miserably because you're talking about the most homoerotic piece of mainstream cinema next to Olivia Newton-John's Physical, and you're trying to, and there's no Kenny Loggins in it, so forget about that. Then of course saves the day because he's flying all new planes, and then suddenly something happens. He's the only person who knows how to fly an old plane, and it's that whole thing.
Am I going to find the story interesting?
No, there's no story, Dori.
It's a good story.
The story is this.
Oh, so I'm like, okay, so I've scale my expectations down a bit more.
No, the story is this. You're going to train these young guys, and then you're going to go blow up a base. That's it. That's the story. Everyone wins. The good guys win. It's that kind of movie. Like, it's so 80s. It's like, it's not more complicated than that. Throwbacks. So Highway to the Danger Zone shows up quite a few times. No Berlin.
Oh.
No Berlin.
Thank God, because I hate that song.
Oh, but you got to throw back to it. You're throwing back to worse, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I thought there was a scene. So when he walks into the bar, he goes to play something on the jukebox, and I think, oh, here's where they're going to play it. They don't. They miss that opportunity. They don't play it. Here's the Mandela effect. Tom Cruise's love interest is played by Jennifer Connelly. I mean, we want to talk about genetic lottery, right? So that's her. And I'm watching there go, who was she in the original Top Gun? Because they just drop her in like you should know, right?
Right, okay.
Mandela effect. Everyone thinks she was in the original one. She wasn't. It's just assumed she was because she was so of the 80s. She just wasn't in it.
Yeah.
She wasn't in it.
Huh.
Yeah. They mentioned her.
I don't remember the original well enough to argue with you.
So you'll go back now because they do mention her in the first. I went to go research it. They said, so she plays a character called Penny Benjamin, an admiral's daughter. Okay. And they do say, well, you got into all that trouble with Penny Benjamin in the first one, but you never meet her.
Oh.
Yeah, now you meet her. Now, Jennifer Connelly would have been 16 at the time. She was shooting Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what she was doing, but she wouldn't have been in Top Gun. Couldn't have played his love interest anyway.
Maybe she was in the original and they just cut her scenes.
Because it was awkward.
She would be too young.
She was too young. She was 16, yeah. But it's weird because but again, they don't explain it. They just drop her in and she's there and it doesn't matter. They set it up. We've got a history. There's obviously something happened between us. We just move on because she's so natural. It just fits. It's just that kind of movie. I believe Kelly McGillis wasn't asked back because she became a Scientologist. Then she criticized Scientology and Tom no likey.
Oh.
I think it was something like I remember reading something like
you can't do that with Tom.
Oh, no. So, but anyway.
Also, I mean, I hate to be that person, considering what I was saying about Madonna earlier. But Kelly McGillis didn't age as well as Tom Cruise.
She had some troubles.
She didn't.
Or Jennifer okay, listen.
Want to be in there again.
Exactly.
You know?
She kind of did that. That was her thing. But hey, listen, Jennifer Connelly, treat for the eyes. It is fucking great. And then you're going to go back and watch the original Top Gun and go, that's even fucking just as good. Remember, it's so good.
I'm that person probably just because I'm, a girl. I had to say it, that Top Gun wasn't like the most amazing movie of my teenage years. It was a little bit boyish.
No, it definitely was. Definitely the target market was teenage boys who like to see stuff blow up.
I was more of the John Hughes variety. Angst and, high school romance. That was more my speed.
No, this is everybody's good looking, everybody's elite, everybody's the best at what they do. The good guys always win. The good guys never bleed. It's really in that genre. Yeah. The good guys never sweat. One thing I do regret is that actually I didn't watch it on IMAX because you can see how it would have been wild. Yeah, it was shot for IMAX. So that's the one thing I regret.
Okay.
But it's fantastic.
I'll probably get to it eventually.
It's fantastic.
I'll get to it eventually.
That's
okay.
I have not recommended something highly in a long time, but I definitely recommend.
That's true.
Yeah, I bring a lot of shit to the party. A lot of shit.
So we both recommended things that are actually newish and not from the 80s, but have strong links to the 80s, which is interesting.
And how many years later,
Yeah.
So that's Senior and Top Gun Maverick and Top Gun. And all of Robert Downey Jr.'s men up there. Can you watch those and then watch other movies? Because then you'll watch Cocktail. And then you'll watch Val Kilmer's Batman. And then you'll watch... Where was the one where he was blind? I don't know. Then you'll watch Labyrinth.
No.
Then you watch Labyrinth with Jennifer Connelly.
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Watch a Val Kilmer movie. Don't watch the one where he was blind. It was terrible.
But he did he's also done a documentary of his his challenge now that he can't speak. He's also done a documentary, Yeah, I haven't seen that pop up.
All these documentaries about the people from our childhood who are just having issues. Let's say have issues now.
Succumbing to age.
Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is a vegan martial arts guru now. Like, he's flying. He's living his best life compared to how he was in the 80s. So well done, Robert.
Hey, good for him.
Did I ever tell you the story of when I met him?
Oh, okay. You have, Dori, but please regale us once again, because we always got new listeners to the show.
If, maybe we have a new listener who might not have heard the story.
No, regale us, Dori. Regale us.
It was so cool because it was the early 90s. I was at university and he was here with Billy Zane. They were filming a horrendous movie, which I still have not watched.
Whoa. Dori, I've heard this story before. You have never mentioned Billy Zane.
Didn't I? Oh, Billy Zane's the one who I got to interview.
What?
Okay. Let's rewind a little bit.
What?
Billy Zane and Robert Downey Jr. were in South Africa to film a movie called Danger Zone, which to this day I have not watched because literally I don't even think you can find it. It was such a flop and apparently so horrifically bad. But they were here, and as soon as I found out they were here, I was like, I was writing for a magazine called Student Life. I was at university, and I was like, I need to do whatever it takes to meet Robert Downey Jr. So I got hold of the production company, and I said, listen, I'm a student. I write for a magazine. Can I please get an interview with Robert Downey Jr.? They said, no, you can't, but you can have an interview with Billy Zane. And I was like, damn it. Okay, I'll take it. And it was really an interesting experience because I drove out to the set. They were filming by Henops River, which is like, on the way towards Hartbeespoort side, very much nature and all that kind of stuff. And he was there on set and he was a little bit arrogant, but he eventually actually chilled out and and gave me a good interview, which I still have, actually. I have the magazine with the interview in it, which is really cool. And I thought I asked some really good questions. And I remember one of the questions I asked was, what is your opinion of drugs? And he smiled and said, I don't think kids should do drugs. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I thought, oh, damn it, I can't believe I didn't get to meet Robert. Oh, so upset. And then like a week later, I'm partying with friends in Rocky Street in Yeovil, because that's what we did. And a friend of mine from university popped into, we were at Tandoor, which was a live music venue, and she pops in and she goes, I just met Billy Zane and Robert Downey Jr. They're next door at the jazz club, because there was a jazz club in Yeovil called Rumors. And you should have seen me run. You should have seen me run into that club. And it was great because I had met Billy. I then calmed down.
Vouched for you.
Slowed down. I slowed down and I walked and I acted as if I was just bumping into Billy. And I was like, oh, Billy, hey, good to see you. Remember I interviewed you last week? And he was like, hey, good to see you. And then he literally pointed next to him and went, have you met Robert? It's such an amazing memory. It's such a bizarre situation that happened.
Me, I've never heard that detail.
No, I haven't. And I very calmly shook Robert Downey Jr.'s hand and then spoke to him for about 10 minutes. It was amazing.
What?
And that's the end of my story.
We got to talk about this movie Danger Zone, by the way.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to try and track it down and watch it. It's from the 90s though. But I'm going to try and find it anyway.
It was set in the fictional African nation of Zambezi. That's why they were here. Was this a wig? Because in the pictures here, Robert Downey Jr. has a very 90s ponytail. Did he have the ponytail? He
definitely didn't have long hair. When I met. That being said, they were finished filming.
Okay.
They were just partying in... It makes so much sense now that they were partying in Yeovil. They were where they obviously said, where do we go get the good drugs?
Right.
And somebody said, go to Yeovil.
That makes so much sense. Billy Zane of Back to the Future fame. I mean, that's you could have had because Billy Zane is connected to Michael J. Fox because he was a bully in Back to the Future.
Oh God, I'd forgotten that. You see, whenever I think of Billy Zane, when I used to have to tell people I interviewed Billy Zane, they would always go, "Who?" And I would say Kate Winslet's husband from Titanic. That's how people know who he is.
He was the Phantom.
Famous outside.
He was the Phantom. He was the best. He played the best devil I've ever seen in my life. He played Satan, and he was the best Satan. I was like, what? I was like, oh God, I want to go to hell. That is the best Satan. You see, it says everything about me that I'm more interested in a B grade actor. than I am in Hollywood royalty. Wow, I've never heard it in that
was such
detail.
An amazing night.
Fucking Dori
I can remember some of the conversation we had, but I think we're going to run out of time. So
Dori met Billy Zane and this guy called Robert, who wasn't even as famous as his father.
This guy called Robert.
Well, it brings us very nicely onto our little game called 2 80s Truths and a Lie.
Oh dear.
I believe everything you say. Fun game. It is what it is. I tell you 3 80s facts and you tell me 2 are true, 1 is a lie. Okay, they all are bonkers as shit. Here we go. Susanna Hoffs, second mention today. Susanna Hoffs appeared in Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, as the character Gillian Shagwell. Right? So Susanna Hoffs was in Austin Powers as part of a fictional band, and in that her character in the band was called Gillian Shagwell. Right? That's factoid number 1.
Okay.
Next factoid is Wham. Wham again. It was Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl this week. Wham were booked to perform the Super Bowl halftime show in 1985 as part of an 80s charity song supergroup. So they're going to put all the singers of Do They Know It's Christmas and all the singers of We Are the World together on stage. Okay, because both the songs were kind of came out at the same time as this amazing supergroup moment. When Bob Geldof found out that the Americans singers were going to get top billing compared to the UK singers, he pulled the whole thing, leaving the organizers 2 weeks to get a new halftime act. That's the second one.
Okay.
And then Casey Kasem, we know him ex-radio guy. I think we had the Casey Kasem Top 40 on one of our radio stations. He's the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. In the 80s, he did some voice work on the Transformers cartoon show, and he played a character called Cliff Jumper. But he left the show because they spoke... He resigned over a racist script containing an Arab character called Abdul, King of Car Bomber. So he walked out, and they still made the episodes. So that is it. The two 80s Truths and a Lie. Susanna Hoffs is Gillian Shagwell. Wham pulling out of the Super Bowl halftime show, or being pulled out. And Casey Kasem not wanting to do a racist Transformers script.
I mean, they all sound completely viable. They really do. I think that the last one is very elaborate, and I don't know if you would have actually come up with that by yourself. So I'm going to say that the Casey Kasem story is true.
Okay. Casey Kasem is... So you think Casey Kasem's a lie?
No, I think Casey Kasem's true.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Because it's
too elaborate.
A very elaborate story. I don't know if you would have put that much effort into making such an elaborate story.
Casey Kasem's story is true. Casey Kasem is true.
I'm going to say that Wham's the lie.
Well spotted. That's very elaborate.
But it's viable that they would have wanted to put them on as like a supergroup thing during the Super Bowl. That's a viable story.
I leaned into Bob Geldof being a dick. I think that's kind of where I wanted to plant doubt in your mind.
Exactly.
Super good guy, raised a lot of money, bit of a dick. So that is the lie. And yes, true, Susanna Hoffs is in a fictional group called Ming T, right? With Mike Myers, Matthew Sweet, and herself. And they perform as a 60s shagadelic group. It's a true story, Ming T.
Yeah. You see, I vaguely remember that. I don't remember that movie very well because it was terrible. I watched it once when it came out, but I vaguely remember that. So that's why I was like, gotta lean into the Wham.
Fantastic. And you know what?
Sure, lean into the Wham.
It opened up a whole new world of Google image searches as Susanna Hoffs as Gillian Shagwell. So that's been interesting on my search history.
We don't want to hear about your search history, Paulo. We just don't.
But Austin Powers was directed by Susanna Hoffs' husband, Jay Roach.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know they was her husband. Are they still together?
They're still together.
I did not know that.
I know. Neither did I. Found this out yesterday. It's fantastic. The show teaches you everything. And because Jay Roach, of course.
Education.
Jay Roach, obviously of Austin Powers, Mystery Alaska, Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, Dinner for Schmucks, The Campaign. Some of our favorite movies in there. And he's married.
He's done some real goodies.
Really good, funny stuff. 50 First Dates. He is a producer. I said, what a fun film. I told you it was going to be a good show, Dori. I had a feeling.
You did.
Everything we spoke about on today's show can be found at 80 Show SA Facebook page. I feel 280s Truths and a Lie needs some production around it, needs some production value, needs something.
Game show music.
Something.
Game show sting.
Dori, anything interesting, your favorite thing you learned in today's show?
Sure. I learned a lot in today's show. I mean, I think my favorite thing that I learned is about the Michael J. Fox docu because I'm really keen to see that actually. As sad as it's going to be, I'm very keen.
That's good.
That's my favorite thing.
The favorite thing I learned is that you could probably hit up Billy Zane right now and say, hey, Billy, come on to the show. He's like, I've literally got nothing else to do. Send me the link.
Hey, Billy, remember 20-something years ago when I interviewed you?
It's like, we spoke about drugs. You really got to be more specific than that. God, I love Billy Zane. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
I'll make it happen. Okay, bye.